evening, wherever you might be watching us. This is your favorite podcast once again. Today we are here with Honorable Lamin Ceesay and Umar Sanyang for our weekend discussions. And then, as you all seen it on the flyer, that the discussion will center around Jammeh's asset report that has already been tabled before the National Assembly, and we will look into some of the recommendations that they have put forward. We will also analyze some of the things that we think need to be done, or things that we think could have been done better. But without much ado, I will just allow Doctor to say hi to the viewers all around the world. Doctor Bismillah.
All right, Baraka Baka man, Kai Badungol Ngalo Kontong, Honorable, it's good to have you here. Very happy to share this platform with you. Na brother Fanang, Ga Kumara Bake Fanambajang, Atole Nyonta Yala for being for the Kulto Minialong, there are reports about things that have to do in Nabanko Tanyal. So, I'm very happy to be here. Honorable has been a very, outspoken person in the National Assembly, and kesoro nyin kacharo daro wakela kula de mi aloka kumada back, and so thank you very much, and we look forward to having a great discussion this evening.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Honorable, for honoring our invitation. Akhirnya kondang kubari kusuraja, ani Umar.
Thank
So,
you. Thank
nggak kacada menyamere, customary. We will wanted to know who is Honorable Lamin Ceesay, where were you born? Itara karmu jamala to. Isim fa jamala ta ila polu kono. For be if ada dibidi board, anu mune wakendi public servant be orang ka tara molto yara dibidi board. In brief, Honorable.
Good job. Baraka Bake. So how do we balance the program? How do we do the program?
You
In
do it
English
like
or we
you just
balance
do
the two?
everything. Mix and blends.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Good.
Not
Okay.
predominantly we would rather do it in Mandinka, and of course English would always come in, but yalo na yato moli kangol min mo molka dia min na denta ko le prefer ba because this is about our people and our communities. And
That's right.
in the assembly, I don't got angale kangol for it. Dia mo ko kumaya ba ke bara buka fon kangol lang kamino mo ino.
All the problem with it. All
You
the
know.
problem with yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's better we have
Yeah.
this conversation in the language that, because even these things that we will be discussing, ne afo ni angale kangola jang model tina fahamu lan wol kala fika lom fong, honorable kamuna fo. De ma ga buko aka to nyala fo de bara muka moy, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Mr. Job, Abaraka Bake, Abaraka, I'm content to be here with all of you this evening. Come atambinde nyamim banku kuole mu banku do kuole mu so special introduction and banku dingol la wasa dingol le mun toldi pongbe wasa kam pomandare wasa kam bambaren na manne ka kan to wala mu kate pay tundu abe ka wasa dingol so to benkata banku la wasa bungoto kayda mol wasa je obitum fombe wasa kan ne pomandare wasa kan otutam mol le bulu pour ka so bari nkontanta bakele pour ka kafal mabi ka pol kacha meni alon ko kumada bakele na bankola koto in particular special select committee la investigation report and aning ye kol mem fintinda kono ya ko dibito nyan ka simfa jumal anim man sanya ka simfa jumal wo report oni ko men binya ka kacha but I'm happy to be part of that discussion and Kaitan Lipana, Jumalamu Honorable Lamin Siseti, Honorable Lamin Sise, I am a 37-year-old man. I'm a man now, so I was born, raised in Kiankenaba, Uluta Kiankenabale, and then Nakaramo Kejele, and up to grade 9, na board of Mtara Muslim Senior Secondary School, and Muslim Senior Secondary School, grade 12 KGLA. Then I went to Gambia College. I went to Gambia College and I studied education, diploma in education. And nga karandiro fanankele for Sanju Woro, nga karandiro as a qualified, education teacher. Then it was PTC, and today it is called diploma in education because yeah, program will upgrade and give a different nomenclatures to different programs. So I also went to Rural Development Institute. Have been taught for 6 years. That Mansa Conco, government RDA Rural Development Institute. Development Studies, highest national diploma in development studies. I have done that too. Then from that place, then I did that with human resources management studies. Then I also joined Yona Forex Bureau and Yona Islamic Microfinance and Yona Enterprises as their human resources manager. I now do go for Sanji Sabaden. Then along the line and youth activity Jamal Panaji because Kabirimbe Gambia College, I was a student union president at the Gambia College too. Kabirimbe Gambia College, the district youth and sports committee. For now, I was the spokesperson for that committee, the PRO. So there has been a lot of activities, youth activities now, career kono. So until 2022, I contested for a parliamentary elections for Kia West constituency. But before I contest in UDP, 14 people applied, to be members of National Assembly to vie for this position on behalf of United Democratic Party. 14 of us, somewhere double master's holders, some are degree holders. But to tell you, I'm also currently going through my, I think my year two in my development studies program at University of the Gambia, year two students at the University of the Gambia, too. So, but then after later on, party nata assessment, okay, then they were able to select 7 of us to go down for a primary election. That's where I have won contest for the election, and alhamdulillah, I won. So this is the brief history about Honorable Lamin Ceesay. That's, let me say, a brief biography. Me along for Molsa, Atano, if they want to know who is Honorable Lamin Ceesay. Thank you so much.
All right, we're muted.
Yeah, the military name.
Oh, that's
Yo, we
incredible,
got yeah.
Honorable. That's incredible. I know transitioning from being a student union president all the way serving your community as the spokesperson, like Dr. Malimo as well. He was a spokesperson at some level. Myself, I was a spokesperson for sport committee at different levels. So it really shapes your mindset. It makes you to be more assertive, and then taking part in national discourse. That's an incredible one. We would love to hear from Omar, but his network is not stable. Our network will but anyway, Doc, you can throw your first question to Honorable.
All right, Baraka Bake, Omukukuma Balati. I still consider honorable within the youth cadre. Initially I thought, okay, is he a little bit older than that? But no, that's very impressive. Ndaka diamo damu tadami wala nyinto ko ila diwe amolo ka kumaya back in National Assembly. Ni diamo ta fonninke jama ke fango je, ila kuma kan luto. Kaje ko iben na yanin to nyanin tilongo fasa kan. Yo kabira atol nata National Assembly ngajalo ko kabira nyamansa kundalo wato 2017 all the way to where we are today. Yo masala soro nan janko man to mi yalon ko ala bonta kamera fo Gambia be fatala tamba. Yo bare inara dun kala ko kisi kisi fom fo dara bi tembo ko dol keta je mi yalon ko tilmo nin to nyamanta National Assembly nara select committee londi ite nyi select committee la do ko je nyaadi de.
It looked like he's bit behind. Um,
Abaraka Bake, Doctor. Select committee, to start with, they are established. National Assembly, wale select committee established. And nga select committee established through a motion. A motion wale na di deputy gumoto, nga select committee established. Kome ya itandi nyame, kabringe established nga do pole dila, inyanta ka menke, and do ko mempa nga dila, amanche ko nga do ko open to everywhere. ila doku e dan dati dulale soto ana e dan dulale fanan soto manche ko ila doku they look at everything. National Assembly does not give that open work to anybody. If they gunka doku ke nyame ika kole dile nyanda ka menke dulale be je nyanda ka dandamen andum doku woni watile fanan be je nyanda ka dandamen to fa so ni wo wato banta ila doku mambang comme nga mendi le nyanda ka dandamen ika murnan député o bungol to ya fanya pour ila doku mambang pour ila doku nyin se insa wike nyin sa kono nyin fanundi pour yetente ngala waranto nga stop so ñu establish ta wala nyama kabriya doku dati iman doku nyimbang itara for 3 months imurunda nam back député bungoto ko another 3 months de la pour yeta ye doku nyin laban ya murunda so ye wala ke inata report so ila report o nyim fanan kono alhamdulillah rabbil alamin observation wol nga jamal le soto je men yalan ko nga observation wol le soto je bode ngaje ko ila report o nyim is a very good report ila report o is a very very good report le me yalan ko abete ata bakele ngalon ko no do put a perfect la anyway unsigned mol yaji be people like doctor with an eagle eye ibe they will point out flaws and here and there. But to tell you from the first of its kind for Gambia parliamentary investigation CIPA conduct in the life of Gambia National Assembly, the report is a very good one. Nataranum people read that report. They go through the report very well. Though at parliamentary perspective, understand ko niaje public ma understand no about it because parliamentary order reports all be na parliamentary secretariat like reports all in draft and the reports all in sabenyame they write them to a better understandable and conceivable manner me alonko if it all can read it very well and public finance read no understand in a more easy way but because it required that it only lawyer learning investigation okay. In fact, this is why in the petroleum inquiry, when you look at it, we administer our questions ourselves. Okay, the only na question all administer. So kabrimbe report of a right la, lawyers they only advise on legal issues, and national audit also advise, fraudulent issues and some financial flows. But the report on la secretary layer and it was conceivable. Then at the end of that report writing, general recommendations also from the general recommendations as well, another resolution or finance that can be adopted by the National Assembly. So wala in report do no report do para report do one has to read very well your legal terms jamale use je me alonko that required extensive reading and time taking pour you understand what the report entail. One on the public, Niko reprimand, to reprimand certain officers. Niko, some will ask you, what do you mean by reprimanding some officers? You understand? So they don't understand the reprimand in that context and all of that. But report on you is a very good report. Just the report on you man dilute because there are so many, legal, jargons used in the report and so many things here and there. But it's a very good report to tell you. It's a very good report. Need a report on you. Though in the surprise, people are arguing about issues. It is not the substance of the report. It is not the content, even the content of the report. It is not even the subject. May it are a protest law, issue of Mama Durang and some other things. They are trying to use that to distract the public from core issues, So, but then, to tell you, it's a very good report. Through the report, to be honest with you, yeah.
Yo, lafta nyin kar fulan nyaw kelaminti wala nyin ko,
Yeah, if you may, yeah.
Yeah, I think Umar is around. Umar, can you hear us? Marvel Halifa Saleh and Kosanyi and mobile Kudosanga. Dog, you can go ahead. I think we
Yo,
still
lafa nyin kar fulan nyaw kelaminti wala nyin ko, we ngajele or naturally I'm very aware ko
Yeah,
ite
loud
kiana
and clear.
tama.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, Umar, I mean, just say hi to our people and then, you can tell us your
No,
view
no,
about,
network along by. It's not.
yeah, we
I'm
know.
trying to connect to my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you're a bit behind though. So, but, um, I don't know. So if you can hear us, just tell us who is Umar, wherever you born. Ako mo leba da mundo leba siri mundo leba mo
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
I am Omar Tanyang. I am hearing you. I am hearing
uh,
you.
go ahead.
Yeah. So I am. Ndomo Omar la di Sanyang. Mbara Fonyi la. Fonyi Berefet. Constituency. Final year political
Umar, ini
science
ada TV
major,
berapa punya Umar?
University of the Gambia.
Hah?
Non fama wara kiyang bande fo nga so so what about documental paper anyways, but okay, right? So a final year political science major and secretary general Gala.
That's great. So, I mean, Honorable has already buttressed on the first question. Wala mo ala jibero ana ala kosiro ni ata ni report mi ana ko yola ni DVD ko ata la finita nun komanda domadin kabaram baye tandi ko tumo men na Malagen Mustafa, sorry, Republic Mustafa Kedabo ay keski siro kanda findin di kaja ko bankola na fulo nyin me ala ka baden ni jambel asetola mamara ko kasarolo kede jelno Alfini Dada de la Banjul. Tell us that very night, and then in fact, before that very night, a night before Allah protesting, Allah call Ning Kurumbe Menu Nyari. What prompted you people to go out? You are muted. Even muted in it, comrade. You are muted.
Oh, sorry. So abaraka baga aliu comme ya fonu nyameng report on the republic lay report on bondi Mustafa Swandi. So Gala started as a moment because few people now together after the report in Nyambota, they feel like we should protest and you know show our grievances and also our dissatisfaction on the sales and disposals of Jammeh's assets. So wale Gala fintindi. That is why near Tony Fonjibe, Gambian agents looted assets level. So ndolnga mira ko Jammeh la o fangol ning mole bulo la kang mini alon ko senea mantara ko ning kono. So wale funding kill kumandi kafura nyola tilif kabari poto ni findita tilifula tili sabanya wala nga protest ninke. So the night before the protest ngamira everybody knows minketa walang people were so terrified that because we received information everywhere that we are going to be arrested in Findita Kara protesting, you know. But even though it's like I fue all the kafu tol mo datang kami ang ko Findita the day of the on the day of the protest. So ngalan yo kane o day the night before the protest more than yo kane. So in the morning Findita nyola data to the urge me ang ko nan naka protesting start world by 11, but another can arrest by 10:30, 30 minutes before 11. So protest ni fong dalman protest ni fong because protest mang dati follow dan di bang arrest la. So in the first ball yung arrest la before 11 o'clock because that was the time of the protest. Yeah. So another ka wala nama and then ngal ndal varanara je ko kabriya muta be banjul inaram boni banjul ya taman ya VIP treatment on the mall because I mean that was the first time doing the convoy on even though it's a very terrifying convoy, you know, convoy miango police all but blam build, you know, swivel banyato police dol ban komo modol dol but you know so dol ba tema so yen janjandi police station all tema wala nyama but at night before or a day after your arrest, protesting broke out. So from our level, dol ngamir ko yandol mi muta we were the scapegoat, but the real protest gamenol leo kemini ko they were outside, right? Kabiria muta gamenol min findita ka and there is one thing that I love about the protest is they were not only demanding for the release of the youth, but instead they were continuing the message in that we wanted to spread out on the day of the protest. So government killing all ngavno wallen galati walle because nakaran tol tamal ni en tol mutanun jele preso malla government kan the government is not going to be pressurized, so nothing is going to come out of it. We are just going to be, probably we might still be in mile 2 by now, but wagamen kiringol wolle wulita wolle balambaya tay ko
Yeah.
nye fatinkel bula ni farata ye listo nyimbondi. So coming out for nyaming, it was a moment, so we transit from a moment to a movement whereby we have a central committee that steers the affairs of the movement.
Yeah, we will talk more extensively about Galala ala operational and ala operational code so me and Kwale put forward. The reason why I asked you about the foundation because Mamin Kaja can be Nyaja base out and Galala Findolo, Niata no Atal Malfon Kurumbe Meka Finti Banda. Honorable will be tale reports on London Yoka the police will appear IGP la pura implement at the end of the day nothing's not gonna come out of it. So Doc, you can go ahead with your question. We have had Umar over there.
All right, intala diamond in nyin karol kata daming is mostly community driven. Honorable ila do ko tamandir nyato, iko do be je ka ko do mon bonna tundo to, but they pay a lot of attention. Yo nga moy mo la min botela tundo to ko every other time, or any proposition you want to bring forward or any discussion you want to make in the National Assembly ka murungi kanne. You have a big WhatsApp group where you talk to your people and your constituent about what you intend to do. They tell you their inputs and then you take that to the National Assembly. You niaje tata from to be able to represent your constituency in the National Assembly is the bond you've build with the society, the community, and then funding ke akata kul mimbeke in that society. Now that we are talking about Gambia and Gambia la asset solomini alonko kulle keta je minin tilungon into nyamanta. How does your constituent think of all of this that is happening in this country?
He's a couple of seconds behind.
You know, Doctor, na constituency mall, coming up on yamming, na, how to call it, a preamble. Banko wasadingol lemon told, manika kamoto, uh, molie, molie, kateo fa intole purke wasa, purke wasa, purkatare deputy bungoto, ngake nyalti, ngake bulolti, ngake singolti. I'll sorry, locally, all I'm publishing so that people can know that for me, better line out, so I cannot pick up calls, but then several calls are coming. Well, I can go distract. So, but
Yeah.
come in na banko dingolu, ye ye kwenye njelo ko Dr. Yaje Nyaming, somebody sitting in UK, I kwenye Nyaming, and I investment sort of here West, dingol fana ye interest killing sort of in this matter. Andum aka kacha kia West la platform sol beleto, la youth networks also, a development platform and political platforms also, youth platform, anywhere aka discourse jela ko, bankola manankungo, bankola fengo, mol manyanka atinyani tilimbalia konola o waranto modanta yesi tron ka kome a tong me alam banko bel dentala ka tala waranto men be manarim banko la na fulola ibuka samanin tilingo konola kebe sin kol fana yedi similar concern le soto kome ya itan nyame tolu ninga business soto at the national assembly me along ko it's very critical because business dol kana time mumna national assembly ka operate nyame sometimes ibuka information or personal and I discourse and I discourse nyame extensively.
Yeah,
subject to
sometimes.
changes every now and then. So member je wala nindi ko nin ko is very critical ka sambale to the level of my people near discourse. So this matter is not also an exception. Ni kia wesun call ya discourse extensively and the yellow views all for jail. And in fact, yeah, many it and wala nindi ko jama yela disappointment with and the deputy wala ko manjigi ko député wol be kese bola jabato because député wol fele ina manang ye mansa nyinin kanyin na minister ma listo nyum publish bar kabirin din fandi wol fundi da doron ye la balambaya itandi ye ni request doron man ta kunda listo nyum publish amanda list publish o fanana president holds a press briefing. He's the head of state holds a press briefing ay banku dingol kacandi nyum ko nyin na ko membe kir nga kalam dale so bari député bungo be investigation o ñi kane kisikisiro kane
Yeah.
so ye mengo mere ndim fundita ndina ila recommendé député wol ya ko ñame adu momoro ndi yalon ko atele to findita je ko atiñarolo ke ay tilimbal yala ke ana e bankola nafulo tiña mode kanala andate mo kubur la fana aba yaje from that perspective yaje wala nyama and ya understand wala nyama and currently it is it is on top of the agenda particularly in the formal deliberation o me along ko ngake at the National Assembly KWS they discuss that so much to analyze it honorably for different political parties any KWS development platform it has and me along ko different political parties lebeje and sometimes in kaman sama jela dolbe je kaman sale fasa. So, but this one also, yeah, discussed extensively, particularly in the formal intervention about this report. Yeah, discussed extensively. And if I get nuclear killing all sort of come modo ya sort of nyaming, galala boys all ya sort of nyaming, and many fan finita, funding all many finita nuclear sort of jamming care fana is the same way. Yeah, sort of nyama kaitan because this is a community mealang they are very evangelized, then they are very aware of national issues and it concerned about even budgets ninga sen kewes platform oro that huge budget ika analysis all mem fawlo moy wala ne kante over equiple to go to parliament and deliver so kayita ndila ko fana ye concern total about this matter adun they look forward to my discussion today and the other questions many along I will respond to with respect to report of Yimbe Nyaming. So, but then they have similar concern committed, Dr. Yaso Nyaming, Mr. Job, Umar Sanyang and Umar Saibo. You talk about all other committee members of Gala and Mustafa concern sort of Nyaming. If I had the same similar concern, less sort of, and they are very much worried that the country is moving at this type of direction. At the end of the day, it is going back to the generation yet unborn, so, but they are very much concerned to tell you, really.
Honorable lafte nyinin kala ko min na jang wala nyinde ko ntela miroto nyamma sakunda from this report ko itan tolbela la ko tilingo nin to nyaman tama nyin koto woto nyamma sakunda ka balanko ha ntolo man corruption o tejang corruption o lankena mata nyin dilale asembo warta gambia la corruption o be tembo min to teng kana tandinna ko karato mu amadou latibi so ma to mu ahmed le sininni to mu amadou bambalati kada fengol sanka ni so sang fo han kan so sang keme konontola. How do you reconcile the corruption index of this country at this point and what should we do going forward? This is not just on the report but corruption in general ntolo nyanda wakele la nyadi la na nyumbanko ka.
Okay, umari quand for corruption wala mutilim baliadi, ka bankola na flow, banko soto fengo me alonko. Then takadum pur ka banko dimol lema koy, ila jaralo, ila karango bunda, ila infrastructure, and na every other thing, balwo belori fengo friending kang, bankola manang kuma bankola fanko nyanta kadu wala punna, pur ka banko dimol tanka, na tanko bunda membe den insecurity la na flow nyanta kadu wala kunna aninka education open and kair wandi the future generation can build up with the capacity me alonko they will be responsible citizens tomorrow You know, mulbe ona fulole tinyaka na banko kan corruption in this country is at a very high rate. Is at the highest rate in this country corruption today because near several audit reports will give audit reports le jamale ge in the National Assembly along ko ya itandi ko tilimbali alle be keri some of the audit reports many along ko sometimes model buke for wala minti ko public enterprises all wala minti ko banko e bundal mennu londe me along ko be julayani safaro ke kan man sakunda to yala men be ko nawek ñol men be ko gamsel ñol men be ko Gambia Port Authority men be ko Gampos men be ko GNPC men be ko Gamworks men be ko GPPC men be ko GRTS ñol wol be ni ajibe mol bu kawol follow but wol be kew sango sang e ka losses men make in this country is in hundreds of million chemolu e ka losses all make and there are so many corrupt issues in some of those institutions, many along year in, year out, investigations will never be completed on them. You have seen gun petroleum saga, and other different issues as well. So corruption in Yimbankoka is at the highest rate. To be honest, it's at the highest rate, and what it tells you is that government cares nothing about it because you have had the president say that audit report is just an opinion, but forgetting that it is not just an opinion. That is a scientific opinion. That is an opinion that is very scientific. Opinion like if a doctor diagnoses somebody with a cancer, if a doctor diagnoses somebody with let me say with HIV and AIDS, but if a doctor who diagnoses you with HIV and AIDS but supports AIDS in this country, Mansakunda knows corruption is happening, but they support corruption because you have seen the Auditor General been forcefully removed. It's illegal. And of course, Auditor General has revealed so many things, that led to his tactical removal by giving him another appointment, another ministerial appointment. We cannot justify his forceful removal because there are grounds for which Auditor General should be removed from office. So all those things are, indications that this, government, supports corruption. It doesn't also support this Jammeh, commission report. Today is not the first day it's coming out. But Auditor General reports for 2022, or I don't know, it was 2019 audited accounts says $22 million is, was unaccounted for under the proceeds of the former President Yahya Jammeh. That was captured on 2019 audit report. Maybe people are not following this issue. That was captured in that. Do you understand? So $22 million is previously under Ministry of Justice were cautioned that in the 2019 audited accounts, if you look at it under Ministry of Justice, Gambia government accounts, $22 million was unaccounted for. It's the same proceeds of the Jammeh Commission's, of former President Yahya Jammeh's assets. Okay, so it does not only stop there. There are numerous and several corruption issues in this country. If you look at the current audit report from 2021, 2020, 2023, $14 billion was unaccounted for. Billion. $14 billion was unaccounted for. Well, 14 billion, wala migo niye million konti ko sinya 1 billion chemelti. Million cheme fana niyo konti ko, sinya tang billion kilindi. Million cheme yo konti ko sinya tang wala billion kilindi. Okay? So billion killing fana yo konti ko billion tanning killing, billion tanning, pula 4 billion tanning, so 4 billion tanning nani. Wobe, auditor malo wodun tamintole ida tata mo kunkili na la gifolo kono o waranto ya suya nyokotole. So that is crazy. Ni ajibe Adam Barrow be nyisla dogol membeke kam banko kan then still how many billion you will spend akunna ni road construction dol jibe they are not more than 4-5 billion. May alonko it can construct about 500 kilometers. Okay? So ni 14 billion dunda nyamo kono way mo jelle fa way sila jelle construct way lotan jelle law, do you understand? Way ferry jelle dinna You need to look at that. Banjul Bara, how is the struggle going out there? So corruption in this country, it's really amazing. But the only thing is that we accept corruption. Those who do corruption, they love it. But some people in the National Assembly and the executive and some Gambians also accommodate corruption. We accommodate it. Because nibe corruption ko kachaka nyimbango ka mol camera ko is a joke. Billahi wallahi tallahi. You million way feeling nyimman sakunda what defend million is a small thing. $10 million they tell you okay, that's not a big thing. Wallahi walka kenyimbango. So to tell you corruption is at a very high rate in this country. It's at a very high rate and it is coming back to us as citizens. Because that's where highest level of corruption happened. Because you see that to kickbacks all bakers get more contract with the project Melanco is not even competent, is doing substandard job for you. So what to make a sila Jamaica because corruption of Jamaica to kickbacks all kakeolto. Mealonco, they can give back money to people. Mealonco is awarding contracts to incompetent contractors and all of that. So one sila more than all other projects because that's where you can have tens of millions as kickbacks as government.
Thank you very much. Mena Omaria now because ngajele kabering, funding kele fundita kela balambaya tandi. Kulo mi alon ko wala natambira la kato nyun sun ndaka fo nyun musun sulu tollete. Bar atol findita la ali alla balambaya tandi kajo ko tilingo nin to nyanya ndatama. Jannal ka commence jannal ka dati fon yatol dolo muta. Ya dol sorong wala kono bar modol ya continue. Bi nenyi reporto jibe. Reporto ya tandi katol lodu
that answers your question anyway. If
right, that's a good answer.
Problem I think
that's all right. Reporto nyin nata katol tentu kali jayi alla kata ko lale minike je. Bare janni wo report follow me along ko TRRC wala ke. White paper findi the government ya tandije ko TRRC do ku kende baleke. Ye kata kutula ka ye ko ke abe kende ata be sahayata be betiata. How do you reconcile TRRC law, report me along ko, government ya white paper that wala ko ten to ke jayi anim bimbe minkono. What went wrong?
Okay, Umar Bakomal.
I don't know if you completed your question, Tom, but if you do so, I would like to. Are you getting me now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ali, are you hearing me? Am I audible? Yeah. So what I am saying is what went wrong is because coming honorably Afaname, corruption in this country it's traditionalized that and the society has a huge role to play when it comes to that aspect. For instance, the honorable the National Assembly and a lot of expectations about the honorable Kang. Ning Karfada wala Karisaba wala honorable Sanji Killing Kaje Sanji Kula. That one Bukaji honorable Bukang si family lokang ala tuwa kono. Nakara nyanda mo honorable so kono bari. Ani sayang honorable Kela nyanda bong kilo kono. The society will start judging. So what I am trying to put across is Malam Fomba American side.
Yeah. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, so what I'm trying to put across is society corruption or normalized in Bangkok. So up to a level that corruption it's now a tradition that people will do corruption without they know it's corruption, but they feel so entitled to it. For instance, coming an example of start nunca di, the honorable mung saying a bede for let's say 3 or 4 years. The honorable mambung sobe loaya, there would be a problem because the society is going to start judging honorable for not constructing a modern house in his compound. So problem will be in our world. So what went wrong is from the government down to the last person. There is nobody that is serious in making sure that they hold those that are corrupt accountable. So accountability becomes a problem. So they can have good policies, just like what Honorable said or what you said to him. The white paper was a fantastic job that the TRRC did, but at the end of the day, the government failed to implement those things. So what the problem here is, people see corruption as a normal way of life. The president is feeding on corruption. Ministers that are surrounding him are corrupt. Permanent secretaries are corrupt. I don't even know, even some parliamentarians are corrupt. So at the end of the day, the government more pressure sort of from outside, even the parliament that's supposed to hold the government accountable is corrupt. So they do not have that pressure outside that is going to pressurize them to make sure that they hold these people accountable. So I think to me, from my own point of view, that is where the problem lies. That people do not, the government don't have that pressure from the outside, both the civil society, both the citizens, and also the National Assembly. That is very important in making sure that they hold the government accountable, because we see that the type of National Assembly members that we are having today, a National Assembly member can say A, and tomorrow the particular individual changes just like nothing happens. It's just like Kajiotigare coming. National Assembly members don't hold onto their grounds. And the government is not feeling that pressure. So we all know in some other parts of the world, for instance, to take an example of South Africa, where I follow the South African politics more often, that you would see how parliamentarians hold governments accountable. And there will be a problem. There will be a problem even when there is a state of the State of Nations address. The president will not even want to attend the session simply because of the pressure that they are going to receive from the National Assembly. But you take Gambia as an example. That is a different scenario that the president and then even National Assembly members cannot even hold ministers accountable within, because all of them are politically affiliated, or most of them, they do not tend to what matters to them is my party affiliation. NPP and NPP minister I will make sure that I romanticize the issue so that he can go scot-free without being held accountable. So to me, just like I said, the government is not receiving that pressure from outside. So from outside, that doesn't necessarily mean the parliament, but even the civil society, even ordinary citizens, that should give pressure to the government, but that is not mostly the case in the Gambia. So I think that is where we get it all wrong. And that is why corruption becomes a very in our community or in our land or even in our country. Just like what Honorable said. Sila deda, ek bafale ko 2 meters, they spend millions of dollars on that. And that is not true. And take an example of let's say the stadium. What went wrong? Right? A lot of money has been pumped there, but at the end of the day, we could not have the stadium that we want. What happened? Where did we get it from? So just like I said, that I will conclude here that the government is not receiving much pressure, or they are not even receiving any pressure from both the parliament, the civil society, and also ordinary citizens that should hold the government accountable.
Laughter. I just want to pick a couple of points from the president. Nananga my president wala ko janko audit report is mere opinions. Abora je ko denga ko corruption is as old as mankind. But a sign Kabiring, Nying Jane Commission palette la report was Safola. We saw the government white paper that actually probably in my view emanated from the Ministry of Justice. Ya tandi ko nyine doku kende baleke. Bara wokola Mustafa Nata tandin tollo ko nyine kan ni solo wafu hani keme konon to fawla nyimbanko kan. Kamotolo wafu wulilulu la nyimbanko kan. What do you think the government would do to this document? Would they implement it in your view, or what would be your perception as per what you think is the way forward, and what do you think this government is going to do with already established or institutionalized corruption within the regime? What are they going to do, or what do you foresee?
Okay, so am I audible?
Yeah,
Am I audible? Okay. Right. So what will happen is we want to remind the government that the president that I can't let the Gambian there is zero tolerance for corruption. So let him know that Gambians are watching him from afar. That if he do not implement this, Gambians will also. I don't know whether I said it somewhere else, but I would say it today that this country, as far as Gala is concerned, this country is not going to be the same again, right? So any individual, okay, now that the recommendations are going to be sent to the parliament, they must. It's a matter of must. They must implement this, or they will receive it the other way. So what will happen is just like I said, because they do not receive that pressure. So Ghana wants to bring that pressure into the civic space of this country. So Ning government they can just come and say Adam Barrow can come outside and say, okay, I have zero tolerance for corruption now, and issues like this, a certain minister is involved. Honorable Daura Jallo is involved. We want to see actions that are taken by the president if the issue has been passed to the executive branch for further consideration or for further action. So just like I said, that a lot of things happened in this country, Tom. You cannot tell me that any issue will be $10 and that is why I said the last program that I had that Kodo Dunda Mundole, and I think that is where the commission that is wrong. They should be able to come out and tell us this is where the money went into. If you look at the report, Tom, you will understand. Some people are not. Most of the people are not even paying through banks. Briefcase I give you the money, you give me your car, you give me the car key, or you give me any so who is going to hold one accountable? Because near 1 million netitela, it is a 500,000 demand, more. For instance, nobody knows because the colonial dealer and in suitcase or Canada. So to me, just like what I said, that the Jammeh Commission even needs to be checked. Everybody that was in the Jammeh Commission from the lead council down to whosoever was there needs to be checked. And coming the way that they did the auction, the way that they auctioned this whole thing was wrong. You don't do that everywhere in the world. That the auctioning may take in a public venue, and people are notified that at this particular day, at this particular time, we are going to auction the assets of former President Jammeh. But that was not the case. What went wrong? What happened? So they were auctioning this whole thing secretly. People are going to buy those things secretly. So you cannot come out and tell us that even $100 million left from the assets of Jammeh, they can still come out and tell us 500,000 simply because the public was not known the process in which auctioning so coming back to your question that this country is not going to be the same again. We are telling the president that he doesn't have a choice. I'm not coming Nadia. I will do these recommendations. Nadia, that is what I think. It's either you do the recommendations or you implement those recommendations, or you arrest us as usual and then take us behind bars. Because the problem will be that we are not going to fold our hands and see that the things that continuously affect the lives and the livelihoods of ordinary Gambians are not checked. So coming up with corruption, it's a daily life activity of a Gambian civil servant today. It's very normal that people can do this corruption scot-free. A country that solely relies on loans and grants. You talk about the TRRC white paper. The reparation of the TRRC cannot still continue because the government said that there is no money for the reparation. When the government, when there is, okay, the Jammeh asset sold for Dama was enough, or even if it is not enough, but that would have taken us a long way. That would have taken us a long way in the reparation process. So people will know, but now that it's not happening, where is the generational wealth? That should be the question. And I think the government people should rise and say, let's bring back our resources. Bring back those assets and let's re-auction them again and people can buy it. Man, I want to believe that these are just few individuals now they came together and can buy this whole thing.
Yeah. So
So
we'll come back to
it's
you.
just a carry for thing that they mobilize. Okay,
I
new
have
people
a
should
couple of
come.
things to
Nada
comment.
oh bio
Uh,
kay ni so nyinga
Before
na
going
no
into
1000 no no but dal na bo na muy ablanga 800 dila wala nga 700 dina ni so din e 700 dina rek nga ni so julo dila nga dila in
yeah.
eta. So that is where we get it all wrong. And just Aliu, before you come in, Aliu, I will say it again that if government don't have a choice. There is no option. It's either you do this recommendation to implement them, or you arrest other people and take them behind bars because they are obviously going to rise against it.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, in Kayokuma consider baga. Honorable, are you with us? So, on the Karo Bakelamiti, the Honorable has to do with the issues of recommendation that has already been presented before the National Assembly. Mojamal ko imo
Yes, I'm with you.
recommendation so belke, killing for the marble for side thing. Take us through. In that report, four recommendations were submitted parliament level. Now submit what are the some of the recommendations that they have made, and then Muna meter take on the issues of the recommendation and the report as a whole.
Oh, okay. Baraka Bake, thank you so much, Aliu. Recommendation or comment report on Natale. I want to believe that ko report on mojama man report or read, mojama be rely kan, information or information or buyalong ko either media platform or your post and only that, but they don't go through the report. If you look at that report, that is a 324 pages booklet, 324 pages booklet. It is Kabirintol National Assembly 2022 Kanabi. It is the report that is more bulky than any report that I have ever seen. It entailed a lot. And the report of Yimpana, I witnessed testimonials, not only witnessed testimonies, but then I witnessed testimony, so I find him also, and I recommendation also to every witness la testimony Duma, witness Bejele, there are committees finding what has committee observed, what have they conclude, and they have set recommendation against each, testimony. So Nimol can rely on only one recommendation, it's out there on social media, come baffle back. So to take you through one of the recommendations, that is the recommendation against the former recommendation of the Mayor Longo set against the former Justice Minister. The former Justice Minister, Walemu Batambiru, like you all know, so many recommendations were set against him. What I mean to go, but for there to be for police to conduct an investigation, criminal investigation, and in fact, legally, that recommendation needs to be amended because you cannot National Assembly recommendation cannot conclude that a criminal investigation has to be conducted in Batambidu. Okay, they could suggest that for police for IGP to conduct an investigation against him. So, but when you say a criminal investigation, so you are insinuating something. So that is something. But they said a criminal investigation to be launched against Batambidu and maybe further prosecutions if he is one found wanting for some of the things that he is alleged of doing.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the current Minister of Justice also, the Attorney General Dauda Jallo also to be reprimanded. That is also another recommendation. Muna na wabi reprimanded because understand ko Batambidu I institutional flows all menke and in the I lual men violate. You understand? Kabirin Dauda Jallo nata in office as the Justice Minister, he refused to correct those things. Ama will correct, and he knew there were serious flaws in terms of violation of laws, in terms of institutional deficiencies, in terms of abuse of power. I will be at jail, and he still allowed the process and selling and the disposal of the assets to continue without correcting those things. You understand? Because the executive loved the way Batambiri was doing. This is why if you look at Ba's testimony, Ba's testimony exonerates the government, vindicates the government. If you look at the testimony, if you look at Ba's testimony. So Valentina currently, this is something that many people do not know, but the 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 committee's recommendations against Batambidu, the government doesn't like them because Bala testimony was trying to protect the government, was trying to protect all the procedures government menuta to tell them they were in line, they were legally justifiable and all of that. So therefore these recommendations against him is also going to tell you what he said in the defense of the government was 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 inconsistent, was not actually the truth. Okay? So near Dauda Jallo Pandaja. So these are some of the things they've recommended against Dauda Jallo. And if you look at other recommendations also against the, how to call it, the Alpha Capital, Alpha, Alpha Bari, Alpha Bari Mea Lompo was only just a receiver. He made 115 million, $115 million. Alpha Bari Wale made as a as a as a as a as a commission from the sales of those assets. 115 million, 115,729,000 dollars. I will make from those as commission, just as a receiver to dispose those assets. So Saige Mira, Ning Alpha
Yeah,
Barrio make
we
as a
want to be clear.
commission.
Was
So
that
how much was due
revenue
to the
collected
country? How
from?
much was due to the state?
Was that was
Victims
that
are there.
revenue
We cannot
collected
reparate
from
them because there is
the
no
sales or
sufficient
not?
budgetary allocation. But the Janet committee, the proceeds from the sales of those assets, when you spend or victims all kunna, but a commission that receiver may make from those sales, you understand, was $115 million.
Yeah, you were clear. So I just wanted that to be clear. Was
No,
that
that
a
was his
commission or the
commission. That
original
was his
revenue?
commission. That was the commission. That was yes, that was the commission that he made out of the sales. That was the commission he made out of the sales. Okay, that was just the commission he made out of the sales. Okay, and if you look at that, yeah, what committee suggested? No, that was not the total revenue. That was a commission he made out of the sales. That was a commission he made out of the sales. Do you understand? As a receiver, he made $115 million just as a receiver. You understand? So how much was due to the state? So the appointment of Alpha Bari was a was a that was a foul play because Alpha Bari ila company may along ya award to be receiver. If you look at that company, that company was incorporated just a few months before he was given that contract. He was given the receivership. He was given the receivership few months after their company was incorporated. So this is why I recommend there has to be serious investigation IGP should conduct to see whether that award of receivership to Alphabari was there any conflict of interest? Was there anybody who has interest, you know, in awarding that contract to Alphabari, who was a key influencer in that receivership awarding or not? So they recommended an investigation against Alphabari as well, police investigation, and as well investigation against Batambidu. So these are just few of the investigations Mayor Alonko, committee recommends them make it. So if you look at other things as well, what I mean to call, the ministerial tax force. The ministerial tax force Mayor Alonko, yeah, finance minister exclude from the ministerial tax force because what Batambi justified for them to exclude, finance minister Wale Mamburenjai from the ministerial tax force is that Mamburenjai has been found wanting for some economic crimes. May along for commissioner, you know, commission has adversely mentioned him. So therefore, he was in fact later banned by the commission. So which means he cannot be part of that ministerial committee. But that is an irony. This is a man who is in charge of our economy, who is in charge of our coffers, our coffers is given to this man as a finance minister. This has been pardoned by the president, entrusted with the coffers of our country. Me alonko annually, aka budgeto le in this at the national assembly alonko, it's in billions. It's in billions. Yaya Jammeh asset so near Bay Kafunyoma, it is not up to 5 billion or so. But the year in, year out, Mamburenjai is in charge of our coppers, which is in billions of dollars. So it is an irony to tell Osco he cannot be part of a task force committee that should serve as an oversight body over how $2 billion is going to be mobilized for the government when he is in charge of our national coffers. That cannot make sense. That cannot make sense at all. But because when they are trying to flout all the rules, all the Public Finance Act, Mamburenjai has written a letter to them. Mamburenjai has written a letter to them telling them, what you are doing is not in line with the Public Finance Act. It's not in line with the Public Finance Act, and therefore it is illegal for you to dispose public assets in the manner dispose Kanyami. So as a result, I'm reminding you to stop it. So Mamburenjai was written a letter Safayane, but a letter Safayane to threaten him of challenging a colleague ministers, that directives, the legal directives, of taking, in fact, threatening him for prosecution if he refused to do that. So Mamburenjai finally another letter suffice. So there were several fights between, in the cabinet between these ministers. So Valentina, Mamburenjai Lanying order statement, I will read that for you to hear that one. Mamburenjai said, what baffles me though is that it is undeniably a paradox that in the same letter where you accuse me of an alleged earlier conduct that could amount to aiding and abetting and or complicity in criminal act, you feel justified to insist that I remain silent while you violate the same law you swear to uphold and safeguard. Mamburenjai continues to say, are you being fair? Are you being fair to insist that I make myself vulnerable to future allegations of complicity in your irregularities with the law? So Mamburenjai is telling him, you are telling me, I was found wanting for economic crime, violations of law, but here again, what baffles me is, you are also flouting laws as the key custodian of the Constitution. Mamburenjai told him that. And Mamburenjai went and told them, but the future will judge us. Listen to this one that Mamburenjai said in the testimony. Mamburenjai said, interestingly, Honorable Njai concluded his letter in the following terms: I am satisfied that I have fulfilled my duty as Minister of Finance, because he was trying to tell them, you are flouting the Public Finance Act in terms of the disposal of public assets. I am satisfied that I have fulfilled my duty as Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs by calling you out on the need to comply with the laws as you laid the assets recovery process of the Jammeh Commission. And he says, history will be the ultimate judge as it is happening today. In the letter, to say to what is happening today, to tell history will be the ultimate judge. Albeit process Kekanyami is not correct, but history will be the ultimate judge. Just as today we are. So Ninkombe could alonko government na be engineer. So when I any recommendation of be jube, there is no recommendation that talks about Mamadi Quran. There is no recommendation that talks about indicating Mamadi Quran or his inability or his incompetence. There is nowhere in the report that talks about he is not qualified. Nowhere. When you read the report, but on the floor of the National Assembly, just to distract the people from the core issues, because there are other lands many are longo Investigation will find outlet. But before they presented those lands to the commission, your land sold in Bondi. Kabi your land sold Bondi. Those lands were bought by some of the government officials and all of that. You understand? So your crime solvent committee, you cannot quantify it. So one thing that they are trying to distract you from the core issues. Mamadi Kurang qualified. So what is the TOR of Mamadi Kurang? Have you gone through the TOR of Mamadi Kurang? Mamadi Kurang is a chartered accountant. A chartered accountant, a qualified chartered accountant, a certified chartered accountant. So telling you go he is not qualified, it is misleading and that is baffling. Let me tell you that Mamad
Honorable,
Kurang
let me
was
help you
appointed
here.
by the president because president has the mandate to appoint the members of the commission. So president delegates his powers. President delegates those responsibilities to the minister of justice. So this is what happened. But Mamadi Kurang, nobody can tell he is not qualified. What are the qualifications of the Secretary General of the Jammeh Commission? What are the qualifications? The qualifications. Tell me the qualifications.
Lafta nala nun jeleto, because the whole point now becomes nimbi ye soja rota mi ya lonko amalonko what forestry
Can
is
you go ahead?
forestry director. Ite muru ko ka
Can you go
fontole
ahead,
ko
please?
the president that you are actually, literally following, appointed Mamadi Kurang. So if you tell me that Mamadi Kurang is not qualified, you should be able to present the TOR that, was presented to say Imari nyanta nyinni sotola to be qualified for this position. Yena Mamadi Kurang la civil and yajibe and compare and tell us that amanyin qualification karnin kar sot. But you, as a member of the committee, to actually come back to the floor of the National Assembly to actually even say Mamadi Kurang is not qualified baselessly, that is gross incompetence of a parliamentarian. Now, Nimfulanjamba Kotenke, to come and insinuate that Karle, Fenko Dinung, how do they call it? Karle, free on free.
Dog, you are muted. You are muted. We can't hear you. All right, go ahead.
Kafanyoko, you have a freezing, freezing order from on freezing order from a judge. Yet adula do ko dange mo do taraje min tomu, Ibrahim Jeteti, and you start to insinuate that it might be him. When you were part and parcel of the the committee that is supposed to establish that. Nimbi inda daranko no honorable dengaja nun janalde ndada jananga mo doje ko danke who is honorable Ceesay or atomu honorable ngabo ko no atawo mo kilongolong. You don't do that. But here what I wanted to say is that if Mamadi Kurang is not qualified, who is the appointing authority? Who is to be blamed for appointing a wrong person then in that regard? Dumale Mamadi Tadukwala. But again, the whole problem, in case better another, I think Ba is the
I
bad.
cannot hear you. I cannot hear you anyway. I cannot hear you.
No, Dog, you continue. I think Honorable's mic is his network.
Ba
Mbuke
is
moy,
the bandit here.
Doctor Mbuke moy. I don't know. Fera my fondel telephone bam fondel mute bam. Mbuka doctor moy,
Ba Tambedu, Miya Alonko is the custodian of our laws, who was actually giving, all the legal, platform to do the right thing, was actually the chief criminal in this case. But until after me follow all to go. Nko Jammeh minta tante. Ita nada pur ko tilin di silola. Iti ya base unya kotenki. Now to you, Gala. Adama dente wala jikoto dente malla he's going to do the right thing. But again, we are told that even the former finance minister had actually raised the red
saying,
flags to the government.
Can you hear me? Mbuka, ma Umar moy.
Yeah, Honorable, I believe it's your network down there, but we were trying to catch it up. Umar, I think Umar already asked the question now.
So now I'm asking Sanyang. So cool be daming to saying, Mamburenja ya fonyi nelo kwalbe minal mantra silo nin tonyala. They failed to listen. That means that was deliberate. They cannot say they did not know. The president to claim that ako dolbi yentamo long omange kuti miso ta kad mambure ya foyelo ko nyim ko beta ka nyama ni silo ni satro manta. Nim fulam njambala kabira bala speech dika ka akonto lelo ko atemalon fonko, some of the sales items or some of the reports were not presented to him.
Yeah, I don't know. Malum Fall come well because
But now, if the government fails to implement this report, or if the government takes some of these things and give it to the police to do an investigation for criminal charges, and they actually go and do riffraff, investigations and say, oh no, the person did not do anything wrong. What should the Gambian people expect from young people, more so Gala?
What Gambian network ko kela kura. Was a protest, ma protest siva kela. But for me, I am bit ashamed though, honestly. Umar, go ahead.
I'm a follow from phone. Hey, do call on.
Fraba ko jijaga.
Until we fuck no bola mo cancel. Hey,
Umar, we can't hear you though.
I want to mute rimba.
Ila ma ko jibe. Mbeke moy. Mbeke moy de.
Be wara bi okay. Nongol ngama fa nyanda wifi la nyin la yaki Gambia wa office nyin je.
Ngoy Starlink. Ngoy son Starlink la ko le bari ma son Starlink la. Ma jibe la bakal nyami. So Umar, we cannot hear you. Madam Faber, you have to go out and come in again. Umar, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Mbeke moy na. Let me. So muka Umar moyo fananya na an honorable fananya to going signing our doom. We will try to reconnect him back. Thank you all for watching. Much especially Minal Nokoiba Jibeka YouTube. We have over 78 people Minal Nokoiba Jibeka. Consider subscribing to our channel on YouTube, and you can follow us on Facebook and share the program. We do this program every week, and tomorrow we'll be bringing you another National Assembly member to have a discussion with. Honorable, you are back. Yeah. Can you hear us? Go ahead, Honorable. We can't hear you, Honorable. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Mbeke moy ofananye now. It seems like hello, Honorable. No. Mbagal moy ofananye now. Okay, maybe it's a clock out, your clock in back, and from there we will see whether we'll be able to hear you. Internet or call water do vijaka diamo kasia. So for those of you who are watching us, Mbaming Kajaka Mbolemu National Assembly ila special committee mini alno ko wale kiskisiro ke purka je ka jibere ke jambela na fulo nyin dunda dami. Hello, Honorable. I can still hear you, Honorable. Maybe network.
If the government takes some of these things and
maybe the mic was before muted now. Omar, can you talk now?
Yeah, are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting you now. I'm struggling to
Yeah,
get
no, I can't know it. I'm mute nung. So the host muted my mic. That is what I was trying to put across. But I was
yeah,
hearing you guys.
I've checked it. Yeah, you can go ahead. Jenny Honorable will reconnect now.
Okay, so what Omar asked me is what should the people of the Gambia expect from the movement. Just like I said, I think he's bringing me back to what I said initially, that the country is not going to be the same again. Like the other times that the government is going to do things haphazardly and they do not expect anything in return from either the masses of the Gambian people or also civil society organizations. So I want to say this for free, that just like I said the last time, that the government do not have an option to to do these recommendations, to implement these recommendations. A lot of things happened. Mambarinjai is bad. He's bad, right? He caused the Gambian people. But Basambedu, it's worse. You know, Aliu, I'm not getting you. I don't know whether you are hearing me.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah, I'm trying to talk to Honorable down there. Go ahead.
Aliu, are you getting me? Am I out?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, just like I was saying, that
Hello,
Mambarinjai
I
was
think
a bad
I have you.
minister. Mamarenjai was bad, but Batambedu, it's worse than Mamarenjai. A lot of things happened in this country, right? Just like I said, that there is a time that, I think this is still happening, that people don't have any regard for the constitution. Can you imagine? You should be the custodian of that constitution. You are the same one bastardizing and butchering the constitution, and nothing will come out of it. So you see, there is this elitism in this country that we need to pay attention to, right? Most of these people who are from privileged backgrounds, most, I'm not saying all, but they do not know the suffering of ordinary Gambians. These are the same individuals who are going to be in our sectors and bastardizing those sectors, making sure that they design those sectors into a way that is going to only suit them and their interests. So just like I said, that this country is not going to be the same again until and unless if the implementation of the recommendation from the special select committee are put into serious actions. So if that is not the case, that the government can also be ready to arrest some other people and taking them back to mile two, because just like I said, we cannot leave the country in the hands of Adama Barrow and his government. I think they have caused more damage to the Gambian people. We all know that the ordinary Gambian people is suffering. You go to provincial Gambia, you know how those people live in a very bad manner. Every Gambian deserves to live in a dignified manner. Simply because you are there, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can butcher and do whatsoever you feel like doing. This country doesn't belong to you. You can take an example. Adam Barrow is the third president of this country. Those that were there before him left. Jawara is no more. Jammeh is in Equatorial Guinea. That is a clear thing to him, that he's not going to be here forever. So when he failed to do these recommendations, when he failed to implement these recommendations, the people of this country, the destiny lies in their hands. They are the architects of their destiny. So if they do not take that responsibility and bring them back to order, I don't really think I don't really think the country will be ready for any development, because this is something that has been cleared, that a generational wealth has been stolen by few elites who are so entitled that they believe that the assets of former President Jammeh is their property, is their own private properties that they can sell and do anyhow that they feel like doing it, and nothing is going to come out of it. So that is a thing of the past. When people are ready to sacrifice their lives behind bars, that is to tell you that no stone will be left unturned. So, to the Gambian people, you know, you are the architects of your destiny. You don't expect those people in Europe, or even Prophet Muhammad, those that are believers of our religion, or Jesus Christ is going to come down and then solve your problems for you. You solve your problems yourselves. You don't trust anybody with those problems. You are, or you have the solutions to those problems. So you yourself, you know better. If the government failed to implement these recommendations, the future lies in your hands. So you decide whether you want to let go or you want to hold them accountable by other ways. If it means all of us going somewhere else and spending the night there, that is fine. If it means us sitting down at our comfort zone and it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect my family, I'm okay. I can buy a bag of rice and oil and I can do my chew and cha at my own comfort zone without nobody disturbing me. It's all right too. But just one thing I will tell you that me personally don't want to give birth to anybody in this particular mess. This country is a mess. And if you do not say it, we are lying to one another. This country is a mess. A country where people can be corrupt and nothing is going to come out of it is a mess. A country where corruption is traditionalized. A country where corruption becomes very normal. A country where corruption is a daily life activity. That country is a mess. So the young people, your future is in your hands. If you want things to continue, sit down and fold your hands. I think I will stop here for now.
Hello, Umar. Joe, I think Allah signal out at no? Joe. Hello, Aliu.
Hello, honorable. Akamto ko network ko nying apa scramble talano. So mana nyomo.
Yeah, yeah, scramble talenu mananyo mo exactly.
Yeah, viewers, they are still here listening to us. We are really sorry for that breakdown. Honorable, so min to the side, now minute what to the side, network or laugh and jump the money, but we are good. The camera is very clear right now.
All
So,
right.
after saying what you have said right now, it's so shocking knowing that these are the some of the things me and look what and better banko can you come out demanding. Jambela masakunda na ja call irregularities or kera jamal kera. Ni masakunda kabina da njigida ko falindro ba kelale. Ku jamal bi me and look up kera banko kam. But after all, ko bakari baji ka fanya me look leader the parliament, they were very eager to benefit from the leftover of Jammeh, and that has prompted them to jump onto this asset. Yeah, be more kasar. But honorable, what are some of the things me and Nako I make content when it comes to Ning report in the court?
Uh, okay. Nina the report ni koto pujamal lel bije me alonko, come earlier on ngata mbidi report me alonko ala content is very good. I can say Pruka a percentage wise, because Nico, let me say I am 80%, okay with the report. I'm 80% okay with the report. I meant that you will implementation of it. But memang fenga you will report when you read, there were companies may along they were also involved in certain things, right? They were found wanting, but there is no recommendation set against any single company. If you look at the entire report, and these are some of the technicalities many along people will not multi chain all because but the entire all the companies, all the institutions that were involved in the frauds and all of that that are suspicious, none of those companies, none of those institutions, no recommendation was set against all of them. No recommendation was set against all of them. Okay, Ikoba Tambidu has done something Mayor Alonko is wrong, but you said a minister came. When a minister came, Minister Mayor Alonko, Anyanta, afana yo kukilingolu, I said a wall kang among what in your role you stop to continue that. But you said a criminal investigation should be launched against Batambidu and for possible prosecution. But the minister men said and not often a yo kukilingol continue that should just be reprimanded. Reprimanded. And some people may think that reprimanded is a severe punishment for somebody. It is not. Reprimand is to caution somebody, is to caution him, is to caution him. Just bring him, in an institutional because it is his governance perspective, and he is the minister. So the legislative term the legal term you can use for him to be reprimanded is to just to call him, caution him about all of those things that happened before you're able to do anything. So if it is institution, is a company, somebody does something, you say, call him and caution him. Like when my manager told me, call a staff and caution the staff for why his conduct. Here, I understand it. Maybe probably later on, if he is found wanting, maybe suspensions, warning letters, and all of that. But these are some of the things many along we need to look at seriously. Même man condamné je wala min ko to go in detail in the report to tell us the appointment of Batam, how to call it, let's say Muhammad Quran, all of that, but you cannot bring in any justifiable point to say Muhammad Quran is either qualified, why is he qualified or not qualified. Do you understand? And they are and remember among Kontane je wala min ko report ko they are telling the government to go further investigate. What is government going to investigate? Until we are investigating government. May alonko you report remember for government na lapses or I will turn for. May alonko there are so many things may alonko it discussed in the cabinet. May alonko those reports were not signed. And in fact, if you look at the white paper, after when government agreed with the reports, government yellow white paper body, was that white paper discussed at the National Assembly? That is the first question. Not that that white paper was discussed at the National Assembly, your white paper konajibe, they will be able to launch an oversight on the government to perform oversight on the implementation of the white paper. But was the white paper discussed and adopted on the floor of the National Assembly? No. Since 20 something. Since fifth legislature, no. That has not happened. Okay? So may man satisfy in the report is that asking government to further investigate. Will they do that? No. And I told them on the floor, why are we asking the government to go and further investigate? Discussions were made in cabinet, Mayor Alonko, they were not signed. What they told us is that all the secretaries to the cabinet, many Alonko, commanded to testify to them. Follow report on Mayor Alonko, table at the cabinet, discourse was not signed. Was not signed. But they said Batambidu told them that that report was signed, but yet he cannot still produce a signed report that was discussed at the cabinet. And when all the cabinet secretaries were questioned, is that the normal procedure at the cabinet to discuss matters or documents or a report that is not even signed, that is not authenticated, that it is a valid document? And they all said, that is improper and that is not the procedure how cabinet works. So if we are telling the same cabinet, the same government, go and investigate. We established a Jammeh commission. Jammeh commission did their work. We said the implementation of that recommendation supposed to be in the hand of the government, and government did not do well. And we are now telling them, government need to still investigate. I'm not happy. That's what I'm not happy about. Because if you look at the ministerial task force, let me tell you the members of the ministerial task force. The members of the ministerial task force, one, Abubakar Tambidu, Attorney General and the Minister of Justice, Musa Drame, Minister for Lands or Minister of Lands, Ahmad Nkeba, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Ami Fabure, Minister of Agriculture, Mohammed B.S. Jallo, Secretary General. That is the current, how to call it, Mohamed B.S. Jallo, the current
Vice President.
Vice President. These were the members of the, ministry, ministerial task force. And we need to make it a koto. Do you understand? So if Parliament is tasked to do the investigation, Parliament is telling Gambian Olko, we are giving the government back another responsibility to go and further investigate. When are we expecting the Gambians to have the truth? When are we expecting Gambians to have what they want to do? So this is what I'm not happy about. And I told them, because and we need loyal Kakuol Kenyami, Gambian ma understand. Because in fact in the law, Mrs. Bensuda, at a testimony, he told the committee that you have no mandate to investigate the commission. And that is true. That is true. Because in the law, yaitan the law upon the law may itola commission established in the act that established the Jammeh Commission has a clause that states that no investigation hearing will come that will investigate the conduct and the proceedings of the Jammeh Commission. That is in the law. So it is illegal to investigate Jammeh Commission. People should understand that. It is illegal to investigate Jammeh Commission. Well, and then if you look at the mandate of the investigation at the National Assembly, they are not investigating Jammeh Commission per se. Well, and then Ami reminded them when they were trying to tell him how you administer, the proceedings, how you were giving directives, do you have right to give directives and all of that. He told them, you are not doing your work because your inquiry is to inquire into the disposal, sales and disposal of the assets of the Jammeh Commission, of the assets that we have identified, our report have identified, but not to investigate us, because the law that established us states clearly, explicitly, that no investigation shall be conducted against us as per our conduct in office. So loyal kuol kengami pour que loi ta ke muta nyun kuol kono, aketala ko abe kole ala bakele. So this is what makes the entire issue whole complicated. Ku jamal ke me alon ko tinyaro le motol wa fita many alon ko, they are not in line. 5,000 motol wa fita $10,000 is, nisol wa fita $9,900 is, be subo kilo fula fango is more than $900 is. You understand? So nisi mundumo wa $900 is. That is a fundamental primary question. That is the biggest corruption one could ever do. So let me tell you, même nya pa report la kono wala nyindi ko ka for government ta katanke yeta investigation okay again. That is something else may along ko amanya pa report la ko. If National Assembly is telling government, it all from for government ne nyinti nyarol beke. It can for that government you go back and investigate. That is something that I don't understand.
That's weird. That's really weird, Honorable. Honorable Janim Bakajanyum Kumfala, we want to conclude with your party, United Democratic Party, signing the election Kono, and then we have a couple of months to go to the election. It as a National Assembly member, somebody that a lot of young people listen to. Somebody me al noko mol nya fata de bide pomoto. Na diamu da fanam funding kelka kontani la kola pake. Any Honorable Bakari Baji at some degree. Now your party is going to the election, and then now, from the research or from the surveys, tanije ko party killing ta president o wulinda no intemonyina ala party alba mun kada kula ka kanyin temonyina farsa jago al sala hamen ko so no come December 5th.
Anyway, comme inte manke party nengoti party la diamula me alonko aka party aka na party represent, either media another administrative communication fananke we have.
I believe. Okay.
Yeah. Nga secretariat totally on media and communications, and we also have a spokesperson.
Seems like Honorable is having incoming calls.
Yeah.
Right.
So sorry about that. So maybe the patio is still part of the dialogue, the discussion, the coalition dialogue. Patio is still part of it, and Patio be disposed can so ngalong whatever outcome you make elementi, at that level, Patio be findilale, and the Patio dingol brief lale, and the public fan and brief lale about it. But to tell you, discussions are going on, and discussion has two levels. You have the negotiation team, and you have the highest decision-making body. Those are the party leaders to also look at the thing. So you have these two layers of the to look at the coalition arrangements and negotiations. Still, bilaterals are going on. Bilaterals are ongoing. Purka jube, the agreement letter agreement mula. So ni pare ta drongalong patio be fitila le purka dia molie, purka ko for coalition on succeed, the farman succeed. And in, o ibita United Democratic bita party bita election or nyadile. Either they are going to be part of the coalition or they will form an alliance or they will go solo as an individual party. That is also going to be decided by the party highest decision making body. So but ni
Yeah.
waketa fana ibe findla mol kanne in mol kata but purka itandila ko there is going to be change of government in 2026 December. Come December, there's going to be change of government, and in fact, that is clear. That's plain. Wobe koirine adu molbe sede ari wolale ko people lose trust, people lose confidence on this government because tinyarol membe kiri banko kan komen bimbota nyuni men kacha kandeng ni anyun ku koten jaman jamol men yalan ko wol mun tinyarol leti o lelbe kiri banko kanja adu ikita ko banko dingol yol kala mutal kaja ko lebe kiri min
Yeah.
banko dingol men ka ko faye ko adam baro e silo na dinye la ay corona dinye it's like as a national assembly member yalong every year a constituency development fund the $500,000 so you design a project yafembela constituency and do need that KWS people know that I told them this is your project and we sit and decide how what they want that fund nga foko alla kodole minti alla tax lemo alka menjo nga julol menta bandala bankolto ani nga revenue men collect as a country man saka wala murundinal kan every constituency $500,000 is through the national assembly member. You understand? It's like nidla min si sekata as a member of parliament honorable Lamin Seka Moleko afelanga boholo singale jang nga 500,000 somebody nga boholo singale jang so al karto painte that's your money. That's your tax. If president is telling you he gives you road, it's as equally as if I can come to you and be brag about the constituents development fund. And no national assembly member should be brag about that. So
Yeah.
no president whosoever should be brag about. So Bankudingol you will bear adu more Bankudingol full on. But to tell you there is going to be change of government. And this government knows that. And they lose hope, they lose trust, they lose confidence. I don't want to talk about certain this many along Kobekir, but there is going to be change of government. And
Yeah.
Bankudingol nim funding all pareta all.
Yeah,
And funding all the give up no kaje ko funding all be many along ko ibe opposition e kana but to tell you Banko be falling come December 2026 country is changing and there's going to be change of government.
you are a
Yeah.
lawmaker. We are a lawmaker,
Mhm.
and some of the laws Bangkok has said in the Mojimal Nyamanfa, near the traffic regulation or near the Bangkola Luajamal Yemian Loko Mojimal Nyamanfa. But not to go deep into that. Yajala commanded the Manimian Loka happened to know the Jinek of Italy and Yamul Farfara, and in Bagu Swat Minker Nijifo Molbode Niola. Job employment, Muna Mitalo Kodiata, youth and employment, Kuala Bangkok and Tamoyan.
Yeah. Okay. Funding ke all the doku sotanya come ya that in diamond. If you look at menkita nun jina ke nyama kungo tinya and all of that because I'm a lawmaker. So law amended data ka cannabis ka illegalize nyumbango ka data deputy multi. So as a lawmaker, principles wise, I cannot, you know, vindicate anybody me alongo akanyamule doku, again and and again. So but there are factors causes all layers of me kanyamu doku. So even though we cannot legitimize their conduct kanyamu doku and we cannot sit on the media to say ko imanya na kila nyama kunkoltinya as a lawmaker. Okay? So but what we can shout as lawmakers wala mindiko man say alternative livelihood activity di umo labang option o dila bang another alternative livelihood activity me alonko ibe lola wala kan kurula balu ko e sonia because itolla banko man kengo soto puruka do ko ke fifen dole bete ye balwala ko banko fanna dol ka nyamin and all of that ila jebe lowri nyamin fanan sila ko mu je problem o leti pour to go to jenak is even a problem silo formu problem o they sato ko jibe there is no economic activity membe ke kan no je they are not linked. There's no connectivity. There's no network connection. Well, I'm still and all of that. Put business or dole and all of that. So mansanyanta a very good alternative livelihood activity dilele ibe balula nyame. You understand? So Mansa should be able to do that. Kanye million member fani billion member anko betinya kan teng. Ikata mo kuntili na la posol kona ani molye banko la o kenol ni kol member. You know, if you pump $1 billion in Genek today, you can change the life of the entire community. $1 billion, just $1 billion. How many billion has gone into the drain? So Mansa funding ke wala doku koto Mansa nyantaka anya lo wakane because ntola this year alone Gambia funding ke wada mame alonko in 2025 to this 2026 mem fata nyimba kono me alonko they are unaccounted for. It's more than 1,000 funding Gambia funding ke all. Minister report dina mame I cannot just say how much but it's more than 1,000 funding ke all. Men alonko bi nyu bata nyimba kono le adu ndolbe je sojarol lel muti dolbe je police lel muti dobe je teacher sol lel muti dobe je no sol lel muti muna ne tata the conditions of service. How much are you paying them? Last time Minister of Finance reported that the minimum pay in the Gambia today is $6,000. But how much is $6,000? What is $6,000? What can $6,000 do? But the cheapest house Purka Bungo renting in Bango can be is $6,000. The cheapest, the minimum is $6,000. What I'm really worried. So nita wala minimum wages mu $6,000 is let. Hane bi woma hari e dingol let soto nyanda kata karam ngol leto mol nyanda ka mol force sa by force. So ila medical bills wol be kono anyanda ka domor le fana e nyanda ka courant fana njole e nyanda ka pasol le jo ka kol nin kol ke e nyanda ka city fengol lel dum nimbe salol kono de e dingol fana nyanda ka salbo. How are they going to live? So obviously, nim funding mena balwo be wala nyama, ite musolo sort of dingol bebul wululal bebul. You choose to die in the Mediterranean than to live in your country. So government should look at the life me alonko ave funding ke wala ave employment create le nyame. Enabling environment, empowering the private sector. You create incentives for the private sector so that they can also employ many young people and give them good wages. How do you do all of that? Empower the young people, many along ko, if a bank ye skill sol karang, give them wages, give them monies. If you are telling me you have given $50,000 to young people for a business, how much? What is $50,000 to establish a business? You understand? So all of those things are problems that we are encountering in a country. Well, theft sending in Bangkok, not only theft, but even the criminal acts in this country. Well, I send it because they are redundant. They don't know what they're doing. You understand? So
Mojimal beji
yeah.
be kanyim in tembo wanyina sutu molmi ano ko funding kila nimin bode la tundo ka ila tundo mol ko mon bata ku dama wo sit santending anno fana ba sim fanya jimala ta ka pour ka jako kila bada ko jar even though national assembly la responsibility man ka pour ka irwa ko sama tundo kam but pour ka jako ila bada ko minti e député to mon ko mina pour ka ni ba ka kan santending mona mi la bada ko
Yo, kadati seno bundala, womu kultume alonko akumayata bakal. Because ndolla ke West Banko, molka ballooning seno lela. Ndolla banko kan. So andung ika wosi men na wala mu ila tiol la sango. Ni seno ke fosa en seno banta, pour que la tiol, pour que la tiol wafi akete kole akubalti and akete kole akubalti. Ni tata few months ago tata sekoto in Jifarong ani itata jenyeri sekoto ikatara tiolbe jurumiri je kodo manna pour tiolbe sanna nyami ni na te tiedan tan san tiolbe je adu wol nyanda ka balu wolle nyanda ka dinno la karamo jolo so mu kole aku balete yesama do ku sama bang yatara expect kanko natio nyanda sanna ka dimba balu ndi ka balu soto je watiyo manna sam for a longer period of time. That is a big problem me alongo ba encounter kan. And some of the communities, many along ila balangol tinyata, membe ko samado kuol, we are putting that in consideration, anila gadinol to na musol mem fananga problemo soto je, na constituency wala na constituency development fund last year, atata mbama nyola gadina do kuol to bohol killing house in Jataba, and nga bohol those in Kenaba, women guardian in two bohol na 2025 constituent development fund spenda wala nyam o fana mum musola kole akol di jiol ila na kolto. Okay, anin jaralo fana bunda karantaba o karantaba health center nkatu kumbole at the National Assembly every now and then. Purka ko karanta bala loptano mba mansakunda ya mexo purka upgrade and purka renovate thank god ya complete renovation o kita loptano nyinnale anin fana material ol nada men nyanta kata loptano to anin dulal fana men yalan ko imantara kiawes la project o kono pour silo la project o jing i kumbotale ya fenka ngaleta role safe through the to the ministry ni discuss the process silo e for community fana alhamdulillah communities many beko gise kabo manduar kata gise alhamdulillah silo vela ta dawo fana ol mem mandara num project ko kono anin kabo karanta ba kata mandina alhamdulillah we were able to get that as well you know anin kurang kuol fana mbol fana boring boring kanne la dol ye kurang so la dol ma soto so ñul be mu kolea ko leti na banko kan men yalon ko mba boring boring kan anin fondin kewol fana na mangol men be ko ela football dinkrali anin ka another mini stadium fana lo at Sankandi me yalon ko we are on the process with the minister pour ka Sankandi la filo nyin ka fence sa je fondin kewol se revenue generate noje anin ka filo nyin fana protect no we are on all of that process and in purka jako ibe benna banko mol sembentu yala nyame I think a ball also in strategy because when I was coming as a member of parliament misira sate okono pimpam kolomba da male beje but as we speak today bohol sabale be osate o nyin kono jiolbe mol la kordal kono through our connection with some philanthropies yeah bohol sinje aning government fanam praise we fanaya another bohol sinje when I came as a member of parliament pimpam kolombala be je kolomba fango inata di commission le buka tabiro ne mo keno because I call a soto to kada jobi nan sate dolto but today as we speak bohol sabala be o sate o nyun through our effort jiol dunda mol kordal kono and all of that so warning other and many other advocates many along for mbeke kan purka je ko na banko mol ibe ifanambe nyaruta sotla nyameng ani na kemoto hotel fana I have also engaged the Minister of Tourism and as well as the Gambia Tourism Board pour ka ko kemoto hotel pour ka revitalize Cameroon because the economic activities le nat la jabe funding ke ol fana be do ko si la funding ke ol male fana ana be tourism fana develop la kewes bangok ani taw pol fana membe ko ke moto la nyemuta bundal nyalon ko i boyta anin tampulare we are working on all of that pour ka je ko wolbe wul no la nyame possibly I'm not too sure if all of that may happen no la during my tenure in office but then those are some of the things we can start anybody who comes in about tarala woldol there in the pipeline we can hand over those files pour ay woldolta pour que continue and pour que make so fanan ko namol ka men kumbo wolem science three senior schools all men be kiyan kono science mantara custody or three senior secondary schools so wolem keneba senior karantaba senior and nyoro sajara senior they are only doing commerce and art and niaje rural urban migration obe siakan wolem nyindi ko dindin dol ka migrate because they want to study science they cannot study science because
Ah,
amantara senior three senior schools so more so yeah
high school
so
without science school, without science
yeah, yeah.
field.
There is no science courses in all those three secondary school. Many along they have been in existence for more than 15 years today. So
So
we believe,
are you doing any efforts to engage the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Schools?
yeah, of course, on Wednesday, last Wednesday, when Minister came to the National Assembly, I asked the Minister a question.
Yeah,
Right,
I've
and what is happening, last Wednesday, I asked the Minister if anybody was following the precedents.
yeah, I was
Right, and
following.
these are the problems that we are having. It is important. So someone who was school told me. It is not only because of the infrastructure that is the classroom and the materials, science labs, but even the teachers to teach science courses at senior secondary school is a major problem at the urban area here, more so Purkara province. But in kind of that is not an excuse because you have a science course at the Muslim High, you have it at Gambia Senior, so there is no reason why you cannot have it in Karantaba, you cannot have it in Yorajataba, you cannot have it in Kenaba. So I'm following that up with the minister, and minister had taken note, and he has promised that we will sit and discuss that, and also talk to the regional education directorate, assess those needs and see where feasible they can be able to start it. At least one school, yeah, pilot, yeah, give a, how effective would it be, and whether they will be able to retain students to study the course, because you cannot only have the infrastructure when students are not staying to study and when students are not doing it. So we are trying to do all of that, but I've engaged the minister last Wednesday, and we have started the negotiation to see how best we can have all of that done. So this among so many things, will be caring. How do we support, the people of Kia West, constituency,
Incredible.
and among many others. Yeah.
Incredible. So, Honorable, before we be able to later, what will be your last word to the people of Kiang West, the youths, Merol, Pabil, and in moment be able to do a kanyintemonina?
Kabo be ko ala baraka bake pour ka katiba inde kanki député bungoto pour ka kali wasta dingoti tumado bato aske na do ko dol nya fa man dol nya fa bodan to tell you ko and alla do ko wala en si député bungoto andum mbe nyalo law do ko kan kaytan dalla ko alla bata wala mun na batati alla daha wala mun na dahati ndolu we cannot ntolte keno la fenti natara no atolinte, because atole karte fa intole to make me a member of parliament today. So niaje be in fact mbesi la platform where people can say, oh, okay, honorable is speaking well, he is speaking the truth, because atole opportunity in dinner. Okay, so the greatest honor that I have in my entire life is to be a member of National Assembly for Kia West constituency. For Kia West constituency. So kaitanda lako, alla doku, mbewolela, adu mbenyalo lol frankan, and nalie cool fanan so to link it to me, platforms all beje me alonko, you can link me through Kia West la, batada nying purka, purka itandina, foninke ol sulata minela, mbama nyol sulata minela, senelal sulata minela, na jaralo bunda sulata minela. You can call me at any time to tell me ko nyine bunna kola quality do fanko man tarantol bulu, because banko faman manan ko di député wala ka fay ko itel nyanda ka silonati, itel nyanda ka bolo sing, itel nyanda ka nge, itel nyanda ka nge, o man ki député wala do ko député do ko men wala nyinde ko kaman sakunda put on check man sakunda be membe marali molla na fulola, wona fulo nyen ninga allocate to the government akana fulo nyen dundi nyaadi le faka tilina fabuka tilim fana anin jenna katantella banko kan comme mbiya yaaje nyami nka silola ko kumbo nyami nka jarolo ko kumbo nyami nka senola ko kumbo nyami pour eta Kia West, wala mun tolla do kote anin ka luwali fanande da ka ale constitution nyami anin luwa ko tan kana député mo nyami ka luwal fanande da banko mo le wala mun tolla do kote anin representation also wala nyinte ko na banko mo lafta munela Kia West ko la sola ko mo munel mo la hajolti mbewol keno la nyamen ntolla do ko molti bari na do ko manke sila de dade ka courant nati anin ka electricity nati and all of that, but niko representation wala advocacy ti wala nyinte ko mfanan ka jelo ko akuma tele nim modol fana ye partner men ya lon ko ye fengo so de bulo ye ko benne pour imantara manke mansa kundati bari ise mako no nga fen samba na banko kan pour ka di Kia West banko molla me alon ko abe Kia West kol fana mako dal comme ko nga bohol dol samba banko kan me alon ko mamba man sakunda e manke na constituency development fund fana de ahead of Ramadan fana nga Ramadan food basket samba banko dol kan me alon ko amambo man sakunda abdul fana wal kita sate jamal tol men alon ko fengol tata je men man go man sakunda bul jamangol belo kan na banko kan yanin schoolol men yalon kamam man secondable me yalon go through our connection, you understand. So womanin kujaman na dokol mo pour kawol fana beke bar kayitanda alla ko al Kia West dingol la doko alla sulo wala mun tolla hajoti adu nyanda nyasela wala kam pour ka wala ka fana even mbal apologize la, because nga accident o sokola no namoto ti nyata namoto ti nyata me yalon ko ay karifula Ceesay moto tembul me yalon ko mba use kan pour ka ke nga moto le rent me alon ko nka use na kata do ko la anin kan na banko la do ko chala bari wala yatina sometimes tuma do nka fama banko kan demanding in the last 2-3 weeks, but then kaitan dalla ko Allah hajo mbe wala kunda but otherwise ni wonte Kia West is a community that I am proud of. Hanna tarandanta 1 time lela or 10 time or whatever time, I'm grateful for what I have. That is the biggest thing that I can ever have in my entire life. Doesn't matter how
Incredible.
long I spend. Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Honorable. We are deeply happy to have you here on the podcast. And thanks to Umar Sanyang and Dr. Umar Malmo for always being here with me to co host this program. We are very proud of you at the Parliament. We are very proud of all the young parliamentarians, yourself, Honorable Bakari Baji, and then Umar. These are the people, you are the eyes of the young people. Atala Mumol Mianako Fulnike Kadala Jibedi Bumoto. And to Alia Fulnike Nyafaji Bake, your assertiveness,
I'm great.
your readiness to
I'm
question authorities and to ensure that things are done rightly. We are very incredible. We are very, very proud of you people. Thank you
I'm
for
great.
joining me. Wish to see
I'm
you
grateful.
someday. We'll bring you back again, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joe. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you.